Hey everybody, this is Jim Lobley, trainer at the Y. Obviously a lot of us are spending a lot of time staring at a computer these days, sitting, staring, typing, and we end up with a stiff, sore neck, right? And it just feels creaky and grouchy and complaining. And so I want to offer you a few things that you can do, a few little exercises that you can do to counteract some of that. Okay, so the first thing that it's important to understand is what's actually going on. One of the basic tenets of training is that the body will adapt to whatever demands we place on it. So if we sit for hours staring at the screen, hunched over like this, the body's going to adapt to that posture. And what that means is that the muscles in the front of the chest are going to shorten, right? As the shoulders roll forward, as the head drops forward, all these muscles in here are going to get shorter. And conversely, the muscles in the back of our neck and across the shoulders are going to lengthen out. And they're going to lengthen out in a way that sort of loses their elasticity, loses their muscle tone. They're going to be sort of in a permanently stretched position. Okay? So the thing to realize and what we have to do in terms of helping to open this up and alleviate some of that stress on the neck is by opening the front of the chest and then toning and activating the muscles back here to balance things out again. And that'll free up the neck and allow it to move more, so it won't be so rigid. So what I'm going to show you are a few fairly simple moves that you can do in your kitchen as you're taking a break and making some tea or some lunch to help work with this and keep your neck and your shoulders feeling happy through the rest of your day in the afternoon. Okay? So how am I going to tackle this problem? Well, let's start by opening the chest, right? Here I am in my kitchen. In the doorway between the kitchen and the dining room. And I'm going to use this doorway to help open my chest, right? So standing behind it, I'm going to make little gold posts with my arms, come up against the molding of the doorway, and then start out by just leaning into that stretch. And you want to try not to hold your breath as you're doing this, but use the breath, inflating, opening the chest, inhaling into the chest, and as you exhale, maybe you can lean into it a little further, right? Then you might want to gently slide the elbows up the outside of the doorway and bring them down. And if there's a particularly tight spot, just pause there, breathe into it. See if you can get a little bit more release and length in those muscle fibers. Now doing this, moving the arm up and down, also stretches. So the pectoral muscle, as it anchors in here and then it kind of radiates out and attaches all the way along here. So by moving the arm up and down, I'm stretching that muscle in all the different directions of the fibers. Okay, so I've opened up my chest, I've done my little stretch here. What am I going to do next? Maybe just do some nice easy shoulder rolls. So letting the shoulders roll forward, up, back, and down, maybe 5 times that direction, and then reversing that and going around here, okay? At any point, just stop and move your head around. Right? So as you start to open up things, let that give you a little more range of motion in your head and neck. So maybe side to side, up and down, or gently drawing a circle with the top of your head to get a little bit of motion into those facets of the cervical vertebrae. All right. Now I want to work on activating these muscles back here, right? Strengthening these guys so that they're counterbalancing this motion, right? So I'm going to grab a dish towel, grabbing a dish towel, hopefully a fairly clean one. That's all right. And I'm going to just put it behind my neck, and I'm going to pull my arms forward and draw my head backwards. All right? That is activating and strengthening the muscles in the back of my neck. Yeah, so from another angle here, I'm putting a little resistance on the back of my head. Now, I'm not just trying to lift my head back like that. I'm not pivoting it. I'm actually trying to shift my head backwards as though I were taking my jaw backwards, or if you could think about taking your ears back. So my head is moving this way rather than this way. Okay? If you are doing it in a static hold, just sitting there, that's an isometric, called an isometric stretch, isometric move. And what you're doing is, the head's not moving, but you're engaging the muscles. Now, if you want to try and just move a little bit, which I would recommend, see if you can let the head come forward and then draw it back. Okay, cool. So, other moves that I like, I find myself doing when I've been sitting for a long time, reaching around behind, grabbing my hands, just drawing my shoulder blades together, rolling my shoulders open, and again, moving the head around a little bit, just to try and open up that top of the chest. Okay, this next move, what I'm looking to do is to activate and engage these muscles across my shoulder blades, across my upper back, a little bit towards the base of the neck, right? And the way I'm going to do this here, I'm going to use a door frame. So I've got my door here between my living room and my dining room, and it allows me, the molding is large enough that I can kind of wrap my fingers around either side of it and straddle the doorway, so my feet are on either side of the doorway and just a few inches in from this plane here, okay? So I can just simply lean back. I'm just gonna lean back, holding myself up. And now, I'm basically pulling myself in, but if you can do this, it's even better. If you can think about letting your shoulder blades be drawn forward and then pulling your shoulder blades onto your back. And then letting the shoulder blades relax forward and then pulling them back onto your back, okay? So it's a small movement. I'm not doing a lot of this, but you can do that. It's not bad, it's all good. But basically I'm just using this kind of as a suspension system, if you will, to work on building a little muscle tone, strengthening, activating the muscles in my upper back and around my shoulders. And any kind of additional movement that you want to do. I'm a big believer in play as a function, as a part of training, So taking a principle like, oh, okay, here's the move. Now I'm going to just sort of move around with it and see what else I can do that feels good. Maybe swinging side to side, something like that. Anything, just to get yourself moving. Okay, so that's it. I hope this is helpful. Just remember, you're trying to open up the front, activate the back, right? And just using what you've got around you to do that. Simple movements, using a door frame, using a towel, Just a quick reminder that I'm going to be teaching an online course through the Y called Principles of Joint Care, which is also sort of a self-help guide to taking care of joint issues, using also sort of simple movements like this, things you can do at home. And that's going to be starting on March 13th at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's a Saturday morning. It's going to be online, and you register through the Y. So we'd love to have you in the class. It's going to be a 6-part class, 5 or 6. We're going to deal with the ankle, the knee, the hip, and the shoulder in that sequence, as well as just talking about some general principles of how the joints are designed, and once you understand that, how you can work with that to help yourself feel better. All right, thanks.